But Marcin, you have been to Crimea when the annexation started. You will be inside here like a journalist. And what was your feelings about the situation? And now, how could you explain? How can you explain why will Ukraine lost Crimea temporarily? What is our fault?
Yeah, I was in Maidan in Kyiv when the revolution just won, and we just heard about some green people, little green people, yeah, that were in Crimea. So what we did, we just got on the plane and went to Simferopol. I just thought, how could we find these people, these green people? Yeah, and just when we got out of the plane, they were there on the airport and in front of Russian snipers, in front of parliament, Crimean parliament, and everybody knew who they were. Yeah, they didn't have any Russian flags, but they there were these cameras and these guns that were used only by Russian Spetsnaz. I remember that. Very well. Ukrainian, well, in my opinion, was back then was just too weak to really fight for Crimea. Now I understand it's a big problem for Ukraine because who's got Crimea has a control of Black Sea, yeah, and for Ukraine, of course, Black Sea very important for Ukrainian exports, for example, yeah. So as I said, Duda's statement was very unfortunate, but the official Polish line is that Donbas, that Donetsk the region, that Lugansk region, that Crimea, and the parts of Kherson and Zaporizhia, that's all Ukrainian. Another thing is that if Ukraine can really regain these territories with this this little help that comes from the West, yeah.
But the main question for Ukrainian now is why 10 years ago world have a blind eye for this situation with annexation. They say, okay, that is no problem. We confirm, yes, it is annexation, but they did nothing.
Yeah, that's right. This is the problem with the well, this is the problem with the West that we had then and that we have now, because Poland, Baltic countries, we really see Russia as the threat. The attitude was a bit different in Western Europe. They didn't react, and they don't react just as we do, really. So back then, the West didn't react as it should, yeah. But look what's happening now, yeah. When this Russian invasion started in 2022, Poland, Baltic countries, Czech Republic, they wanted to help as much as they could, but especially in the first weeks and months, just the West, like Germany, like France, they were just waiting. Now it's a bit better, of course, but they were still waiting. And what the USA did, well, you know, when this invasion started in February 22, I was in Kyiv. I went there just for a week, but I stayed for 2 months, and I quickly started to go to the front line, to the east, and I saw this disproportion of fire between Ukraine and Russia. It was obvious already in May, in June, when I came to Poland, it was in June. I wrote an article because I saw that I just came to Poland from Ukraine after so many months in this country, and I was a bit depressed because of this disproportion. And in Poland and in the West, I saw this euphoria. Yeah, Ukraine is winning this war. Yeah, we are just going to Moscow. Yeah, it was just not true. And I thought, well, if we don't look at this war in a realistic way, we're going to lose it. And in June 22, I wrote an article, I said Ukraine is just losing this war. And this article brought lots of criticism on my head. But then I was writing that the American strategy in this war is not to win. No, it's to help Ukraine just as much as to keep Ukraine in this war. Yeah. And the direct result of what happened then we have now. Yeah. We are in even the worse situation. Of course, Ukraine retook Kharkiv region, Kharkiv Oblast. Ukraine retook the city of Kherson just because of great performance of Ukrainian army, and Ukrainian commanders were great strategists. But the deficit of weaponry was the problem from the very beginning of this war, and now this problem is even bigger. So yeah, the countries of our region have a problem with the engagement of the West from the very onset of this war in 2014, and also from the beginning of Russian invasion in 22.
But what do you mean we didn't win? What was the last point on this war? Could you explain this?
Well, when the Russians started, like the clear first declare goal for Ukrainians was to defend themselves. But then Zelensky started to talk about regaining all the territories. That would be the victory, yes? Like, this is the point, even in Poland, we are discussing this. If the victory is regaining all territories, or just regaining independence, or just keeping the independence, yeah? If we think about regaining the territories, and Zelensky is still talking about regaining these territories, I'm afraid that with this level, with the present level of help from the West, it's just impossible, yeah? The only we can do right now is to keep territories, is to just not let the Russians to go forward.
But why the USA, Europe don't dare to stop Russians? Why they?
Well, the Russians.
So brave.
Why? The American strategy from the very beginning, and it was repeated at least, I think, 2 times by Lloyd Austin, was to make Russia weaker. He didn't say our goal, our strategy, our American strategy is to win over Russia. No, he said it's to make Russia weaker. So Americans are realizing their own strategic goals here. And it's not exactly the same goal as Ukraine's goal. Yeah, Ukraine would like to move Russians back, yeah, regain territories. And America, it's a bit different. And now we have even more difficult situation because there's money, over $60 billion blocked in the Congress. Yeah, they've been negotiating this money for the last at least 3 or 4 months. Yeah. There's a fight, there's a negotiation between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans say, okay, you want the money for Ukraine. First, we have to take care of our own southern border, American-Mexican border. Yeah. If you do this, we may think about the money for Ukraine. Yeah. So now the situation is even worse. The situation with the help for Ukraine in Europe is not as good again. Yeah. Orban was blocking the money for a very long time. Now there were some negotiations with Orban. Okay, he unblocked the money, but it's still about, as far as I remember, about $60 billion euro, but over 4 years. Yeah. So it's not a lot of money for waging the war against Russia.
Yes, of course, but this sum was blocked with supporting of Donald Tusk, and Donald Tusk is considered to be a reliable partner of Ukraine, and our politicians were very happy when Donald Tusk became the Prime Minister of Poland. But what is an attitude to Donald Tusk in Poland? It's not only one his option to help Ukrainians, of course.
You asking about Donald Tusk in relation to Ukraine, yeah?
Yes, but how is the attitude of Polish? What is the attitude of Polish people to Donald Tusk?
Donald Tusk and his party won the elections, yeah, so he has the majority, yeah. So Polish attitude, well, we have a divided nation right now, yeah. Around half of the nation is conservative, which is PiS and Jarosław Kaczyński and Andrzej Duda, yeah, and another half is more liberal and is supporting Donald Tusk, yeah. So that's where we are now. But if you would ask about the attitude of the Polish government's attitude to Ukraine, it's more or less the same. Yeah, PiS government was supporting Ukraine. And of course, there were many problems, and there are problems between our countries. Grain crisis, yeah, the blockade at the border, yeah, and these problems persist. But both governments support Ukraine in their war against Russia. But of course, Donald Tusk is a hard negotiator. I know that Ukraine, that President Zelensky and his administration, they were disappointed with PiS government. But as much as they were disappointed with the Polish part was disappointed with Ukrainian part administration at certain point of this war. Yeah. I think that with Donald Tusk we would have sort of a continuation. Yeah, they would be hard negotiations about grain crisis, hard negotiations about blockade at the border. Not because we are enemies of Ukraine, that's not true. It's because we have different interests here.
Yes, but in Ukrainian media, grain crisis and banned tracks on the border, every time they explain that is the business, pro-Russian business, and they organized that. But what is reality? Is it pro-Russian rules
Yeah.
or not?
Yes, of course, Russia is happy of any problem between Ukraine and Poland. But grain crisis and the blockade of the border have nothing to do with Russia. Let's start with the grain crisis. When Poland was joining European Union in 2004, we were a big producer of food, of good and cheap food. Europe, Europe liked our food, but to protect their farmers, they introduced certain regulations. We didn't like these regulations because out of a sudden our food were not as cheap as it was, but we said, okay, it's European Union, okay, all right, yeah. Now we have more or less the same situation. Of course, Ukraine is not joining European Union, but it's exporting lots of its food to Europe. So again, we Poland, we Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, Slovakia, yeah, especially these countries which are big food producers, we say, okay, now we need the same regulations because Polish farmers have problems as well. Between February 22 and May 23, about 30 million of grain came to European Union, and out of this number, over 11 million tons, 30 million tons and now 11 million tons, yes, came to Slovakia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania, and Poland. Yeah, it was a huge number for these countries, which are really exporters of grain. Yeah, so it was a problem for us. It still is a problem of us, and well, we need to negotiate. And the blockade of the border is more or less the same problem. Again, Poland and Ukraine are big food producers, but also Poland and Ukraine are really big in transportation. We have lots of transport and we are cheap. Yeah. Until the last year, Poland was really big in Europe, Polish carriers. Yeah. But then, European Union said we have to protect our carriers. So they introduced so-called mobility package, which unifies transport regulation within the European Union, and of course it reduced competitiveness of Polish drivers in Europe. But so it was a problem for us, for Poland. But we said, okay, these are the rules inside European Union. But at the same time, Ukrainian drivers started to be a problem for us. Yeah, and again, they were much cheaper, and there were lots of them. And yeah, that's the real reason of the blockade at the border. So what we have to do now, we have to negotiate to solve this problem, so that the all parts here were more or less satisfied. You never satisfy just 100%. Yeah, it's always negotiation. It's how European Union work, and it's how we should work with the other countries as well. So this is the problem here.
Yes, the main problem is European Union regulation, and we will think about that now Ukraine wanted to be the member of the US Union, but is it more problems for us will be. But back to the transport crisis on the border, what is your stance on it? Is it some kind links with pro-Russian businessmen here?
Well, how is it going to be? Now it's suspended until the 1st of March. there are negotiations, but the carriers said that if they are not satisfied with the negotiations, they are coming to the border on the 1st of March. So as I said, we need to negotiate. I know that there are talks not only between European Union, Poland, and Polish carriers. There are only talks about between Polish and Ukrainian governments. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Okay, I wanted to ask you about that refugees crisis. Is it existed, but because now probably 1 million Ukrainians refugees still in Poland, and the last news that only until the June they will be here, according to the last rules, according to the last law. And by the way, Zelensky,
No,
yes,
I don't think. I think it's a question of a limited support for Ukrainian refugees. It's not that Poland wants to push them out now. No. It's about some social support for these people. But actually, Ukrainian refugees, and in December 23 we had the exact number of 957,000, which is almost 1 million. And for Poland, really, Ukrainians who came here are more of an advantage than a problem, really. Of course, we are planning to stop the social supports, but look, most of the Ukrainians, like when Ukrainians came to Poland, we have a very big problem in our labor market. We needed workers, and Ukrainians came here, and 84% people, most of the people in the working age, found the jobs in Poland, and these were not just the jobs like the cheap jobs. Yeah, we have Ukrainian doctors, Ukrainian businessmen. Just 200 meters from here, from the place where I sit, there's a big Ukrainian store with all kinds of products, Ukrainian products, from Ukrainian wine through pelemeni, fish, even water. Yeah. So it's very popular.
Could I add, according to official statistics, every third private entrepreneur in Poland now from Ukraine, really? Every third.
Yeah, that's right. So like the point is that Ukrainian refugees adapted perfectly in Poland and in the Polish labor market. Yeah, we really needed people. Now we have these people. This could be the problem for Ukrainian labor market. Yeah, but actually here in Poland, it's quite like for our market, it's quite a good situation. And now we hear that there are these voices. Sometimes they are supported by Russia, that so many young Ukrainians are in Poland and they should be in Donbass fighting with Russians, and Poland should push them out to Ukraine. But I'm sure that the Polish government will not make any regulations that would push these people out of the country just because we also need these people on the Polish labor market.
But the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, has openly called European countries to make conditions worse for Ukrainian refugees to return them to the country. Do you know that? That is official proposition from our president.
All right. Okay. It's good because Ukraine needs these people. I know, because I travel to Ukraine so often, and I see, especially in the east, these cities that are just almost empty, these little towns that are empty, yeah, Ukraine badly needs refugees to come back, yeah. The question is if these refugees really want to come back to Ukraine. It's a problem of any country that is waging wars, that is in the deep crisis. So yes, I agree with the President Zelensky. It's in the best Ukrainian interest to uh, to 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 just bring these people back. Yeah, another problems if these people really want to come back.
Yes, really. But I just wanted to clarify from your opinion about that exhaustion from Ukrainian-Russian war now in Poland, especially. What do you think about that? Is it tied? Do you tie it from
like
us?
yeah, no, I am not tired, and Poles are not tired, as I said, of Ukrainians who are here and who are so similar to us. Yeah, so they are always welcomed guests here in Poland, and they are really useful for our culture, for our economy. But yeah, if you ask about the exhaustion of the war, it's for me personally, it's the same story that I had in 2014 and 15. Yeah, when the war started, when the Russian really attacked, yeah. In 2014, I was going to the front line, and people asked me what's going on, how is it evolving, if the Russians can come to Poland, right? People were really interested. They wanted to help. They wanted to do something. And then this interest started to fade. It's nobody's fault. It's just normal psychological mechanism. Yeah, people are tired of war, of certain topics. They shouldn't be, but well, they are humans. And now we have more or less the same story. In 22, the invasion was bigger, the war was hotter, so the interests and the scale of the help of Polish people, for example, for Ukrainian refugees was much bigger, of course, naturally. But after a year, after 2 years, nearly 2 years now, again, these people are becoming to be exhausted with this topic. Not only in Poland, it's even a bigger problem in the West, because the money, the real money, is in the West. Yeah, they should help. And well, if you are less and less interested, you are also less and less willing to help. Yeah, we are still helping here in Poland. Sometimes I organize some humanitarian help with my friends and other foundations. So people are still willing to help, not as much as it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but people are still trying to help. We understand what Russia is and what kind of threat it is, yeah. But if you look at Germany, at France, at the United States, all these problems in the American Congress or European Parliament, yeah, it's yes, it's this interest is just fading. It's very bad. It's a problem of democracies. Yeah, in democracies, politicians are dependent on their voters. Yeah, and they do what the voters tell them to do. In dictatorship, like Russia, like China, yeah, like Iran, the time like they don't care about the voters, they don't care about the time. They can wait.